Welcome to the show where we talk about buying, selling, online selling, eBay, Mercari, Amazon, garage sales, estate sales.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today, Thursday, July 14th? What is happening, everyone? Thanks for coming in. Special show today. Part of the show is going to be from Raleigh, North Carolina. And in Raleigh, North Carolina is this gentleman right here, Adam from
Hi.
Record Crate. What's happening, Adam?
Just hanging out. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Hi, Lisa.
So what do we have in the chat? The Fanatic Card Guru. How are you today? The return of Cajun Roots reseller, Johnny. Hi, Johnny. What's going on? Ping G, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. And if you want to be part of the chat, all you people on Twitch and Facebook, just click on the image and it'll bring you right into the YouTube chat and you could see what everybody's saying. Good morning, Jen, JRKR 1964. Record Crate, Adam, good morning, good morning. Steadfast Selections, Renee. How are you today, Renee? And Lisa C. How are you, Lisa? Listening. Be listening. Be listening. That's what I was doing all morning as I was sending out emails and stuff like that. The Fanatic Card Guru. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. So we're going to spend a little time today with Adam. Adam, as you know, well, let me just have Adam do it. Adam, tell them about yourself.
I'm Adam. I'm the owner of Record Crate. Have 3 locations: Raleigh, Wake Forest, and Selma. I've been doing this for 8 years, selling records. I buy and resell and make a lot of people happy and enjoy listening to music. And here we are.
Very cool.
I do a lot of live YouTube sales. I ship all over the world. I spend time on some of the online selling sites.
How did you get into selling records? Were you a record collector at first?
I never think of myself as a collector. I just think of myself of having a library of music to listen to. And so I would go out and buy records and look for stuff that I wanted to hear. And then wasn't long before someone says, well, just give me $5 for the whole box. And I'm like, okay. And
wow.
And this was before records have always been popular, but before the resurgence and the revival of records. And so I was getting these extra records and I was like, I'll just have little pop-up sales at my studio and stuff like that. And then I started going to other pop-ups and I was like, which would be nice to have a little storefront where people could bring me stuff. And so for me, it was all about getting more records to listen to. And then it turned into a job. Now I'm
a job that you're happy doing.
I was very happy before. Now it's a challenge. It's a hustle. Yeah.
Do you still have those people come in saying, just give me $5 for the box? Or is it now, give me $100?
No. It was like, there's some crates of records it's all about condition and desirability. And I feel like I'm fair trade. So some crates of records I would pay $400 for, some more, some less. And some I'm like, just take them out of here. I don't want them. And so.
Wow.
But records are very desirable and the market has changed a lot in the last 3 years. And I'm glad I've been able to ride that, be abreast of changes and keeping up with things.
So how many people like me would come into the store these days and say, gee, when I was a kid, a teenager, I used to buy records, they were $5, $7. Today they're $30, $40. What do you say to that? How come the big difference? Does it really cost that much more these days to make a record than it did back then?
Well, it does with labor, materials, and of course the attorneys have to get in there and figure out how to slice up the money. But pressing records are very much like it was done in the 50s, only there's more automation and there's better materials, and colored vinyl, splattered vinyl, marbled vinyl is very trendy.
Yep.
And so that takes a little bit of more hands-on, a little more boutique-y. So yeah, to press a record is fairly easy, but when there's so many people that wants a record pressed, it becomes a waiting game. So
Okay, but now, and good morning, Christy. Thanks for coming in. Good morning, Mom Knows Treasures. Good morning. Thanks for coming in. So back when I was a teenager, when we used to buy records, I'm sure back then they made hundreds of thousands of records of the same title.
mhm.
They don't make that many today, right?
I don't think there's the quantities that there were in the 70s. Yeah, and so yeah, yes, I think you're right, Paul.
So do
That's
you
the
have
reason that
people?
there's so many of records by the Beatles around. People call me up. I got some Beatles records.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like,
does everybody else.
absolutely. So,
Attic Avenue, Kathy, thank you for coming in. Welcome.
hey, Kathy. Hey, Mom. Hey, Christy. Yeah.
So are the so-called limited, like you said, the marble, the colored vinyl, are they really that much more collectible than your standard release,
Uh, for
record?
instance, if a record's been released and maybe there's 10,000 copies that were pressed, the first 1,000 may be a limited indie record store exclusive. That could be a colored vinyl or a marbled vinyl or splattered vinyl. So, yeah, um, some of the people want to get that special release.
Right.
Yeah.
I,
But to answer your question about the price, if someone comes in and says, "Wow, I used to pay in the '80s, I think records were between $7 and $10," and so not only records, the price have changed, but bread and tires and T-shirts, everything has changed.
oh yeah.
This is over the years.
Renee says, I didn't realize they even made records these days. Oh yeah.
Records never stopped being made.
And I see a huge increase in soundtracks, movie soundtracks. And I think I
Right.
reached out to you once. I said, hey, they just released this Godzilla soundtrack album with the special green, glow in the dark vinyl. Can you get that or something? Because I think they made 1,000 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed there's one, like Mondo puts out this list of stuff they're releasing.
Mm-hmm.
They just did a Stranger Things soundtrack album and a Thor Love and Thunder soundtrack album. There seems to be a lot of not just groups, re-release groups, but soundtracks, movie soundtracks, TV show soundtracks. Do you carry all those things?
I carry a lot. I don't have every release. My website, I have probably 80% of the releases. Some of the Mondo stuff that you talk about, some of the special soundtrack releases, not only Mondo, but some of the other specialty labels. they just license the stuff and they make it, and they'll put it on the website, and the pre-orders will sell out before it hits the retail market.
Wow.
And so that's the reason some of those are really hard to find or hard
Yeah.
to obtain. And then some people just buy them so they can flip them. So they'll put them on an online reselling site where they will be asking double, triple, quadruple prices. Yeah.
Buku bucks.
One thing I always share with people, if you go to the website inflation finder, it's a website you can key in like 888, which was kind of an average price for a new record in 1988. And you can compare it to what that money would be today. And you can see that sometimes it's right in line or it's a little less than that. So, yeah.
Wow. Mom asked a question: is there anything that you do to be able to make a better sound? Make a record sound better.
So, Mom, would that be if you buy a pre-love record today to make it sound better, or would that be, is there something that the pressing plants could do to make the record sound better? There's lots of treatments out there. Who's my favorite artist? There's lots of treatments that audiophile pressings, a lot of audiophile pressings that you can. Yes. There's lots of treatments that some labels do. Mobile Fidelity does original master recordings. Tone Poet, which is a Blue Note series. Acoustic Sounds are doing audiophile pressings, and those prices are premium. Yeah.
Right.
I always encourage my customers to inspect their records, to answer Mom's questions about pre-love records. I always encourage my customers to examine the records before you buy, to make sure it's of the visual quality that you would like. And if you need to, I'll be glad to play the record so you can see exactly what it is. But one thing I always encourage everyone is you have to start with the way that you handle the record. They're not meant to be touched on the surface because dirt and oil from your fingers will transfer there, and over time it's not good for the vinyl. And then washing the record. Of course, having the proper stylus and having your turntable set up properly so it plays properly. It's just like when you get new tires on your automobile, you want to make sure that your front end is properly aligned. You want to make sure that your tires are properly inflated so that your car will drive the best it can.
Very cool.
Yeah.
She did say, I sold a red vinyl Bonnie Pointer. Heaven must have sent you, made in Mexico for $40. Sent it to Brussels. Wow.
People love the Pointer Sisters, and she was one of the Pointer Sisters, but she later left. So, yeah, very cool. Records that were pressed in Mexico were survivors are kind of rare.
Oh, wow.
Mostly in, the larger places like Acapulco, where a lot of people that lived outside the cities, that lived in smaller rural areas, just didn't buy vinyl in Mexico. So
wow.
Some of the Kiss records that were pressed in Mexico are very desirable, very, very.
That's what Johnny says. I see a lot of albums in the stores today, and they are really high in price. Yeah, $30-$40.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which is common. Yeah, very cool. Mom says that she buys pre-owned and they're very staticky. When a record is damaged, it's damaged. You can clean the record, but if it's damaged, it's damaged.
That's the bad part.
Yeah.
What's your favorite artist?
My favorite artist, I don't have one. I think Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass with Prima and Other Delights is a wonderful record, and that's one record that I like to keep around and show off.
Do you have a favorite genre of music that you like more
It
than
change,
others?
it changes daily. I listen to so much music. Whenever I get a record in from the '80s that I've never heard of before, and
Yep.
I play it, I'm like, oh my stars, how did I miss this?
Oh,
You know,
wow.
and I lived, of course, obviously I lived through the '80s, but through the '80s, music was so important to me. Um, and so not only did I listen to a lot of grooves, but that music grooved my brain. And, and
That's funny you say that because there are times if I'm down or something and I need motivation, like some people will have 2, 3 cups of coffee and that'll get them going. If I listen to music like from my clubbing days, 78, 77, and that type of stuff,
mhm,
that gets me going and gets me motivated. And I
oh,
and
yeah.
I just get into what I guess you call it my happy place.
Yeah, it takes you there, and yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's funny. On Whatnot, many people who are supposedly selling classic sealed vinyls are selling new records that you can buy in stores.
That is so true, Mom. I don't follow that auction site very much at all. I've been there before out of curiosity. Um, there's lots of repressings. There's tons of counterfeit repressings also. And
Wow.
but over the years, I've learned so much about records, and I try my best to only buy records that are in nice condition that I put out for my customers. And that's the reason a lot of people like coming here. They can pick up a Led Zeppelin record that's going to sound nice versus one that looks like it was ran over by an automobile that someone's asking a crazy price for just because it's Led Zeppelin.
Wow.
Yeah. I love
Johnny.
Herb Albert Rise. It's awesome.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of good response from that one. Even Lisa C. Herb Albright. Yes, a family favorite. Johnny asks, for those who don't know, what is the best way to wash a record and albums?
I
You've
always tell
talked about this for a long time, and I never got it.
I always tell people to always start with the way you handle the record. And as far as washing, I have a wet vacuum washing machine called the VPI, and I wash records all the time on that machine. They're very expensive and they're worth every penny. Um, I was able to get mine before prices went so high like they are today, but they're worth every penny. If you don't have a VPI, which is totally cool, I have a video on my Facebook page, and I need to do a new one so I can put it on my YouTube channel of washing records in the sink using lukewarm water, a dish detergent, and a sponge, and then just letting them dry. But I did that many years, and if I get a record in that's very desirable, that's hard to find, I will wash it that way first before I put it on the VPI.
Now, I remember you saying that because if people don't know, Adam, myself, Dolly, and Tiffany were together at one time. We used to do YouTube sales, long
Mhm.
time ago now. Um, and I asked Adam about this, and he mentioned that clean. And my first question was, won't the label come off
Mm-mm,
with warm water?
mm-mm.
I
Yeah.
don't know how many other people might be wondering that, but doesn't it affect the label?
I never think about it. I just watch the records. I've had some labels that were affected, but maybe one out of 100. Um, the labels were never glued to the vinyl. It was basically a heat transfer. It was heat that kept them on there. So they bonded with the vinyl during the when you
During the
press
pressing?
records. There's a big machine, and you take something that looks like a hockey puck, and it's got
Yep.
vinyl on it, and on each side is a label. And you pop it on there, then two pieces comes down, it clamps, and it presses the vinyl.
Right.
And
I
and
went
then
to an auction once and they were selling one of those machines. Ancient, ancient record press machines.
yeah,
I don't know how much it went for, but it was very cool. And one other thing to go back on Johnny's question, because you mentioned warm water and liquid
Lukewarm
soap.
water, sponge, and
Sponge. That's
and a
it.
dish detergent.
Dish detergent. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Music Fanatic says, kick off my day puts me also in my happy place. We all need a happy place.
There you go.
Johnny says, I really love the sound of a record on the player.
I do too, folks. And when you have a turntable, a phono stage, an amplifier, and speakers that are exceptional, your life is complete. Your life is complete. So I always encourage my customers who might have a suitcase record player. I say, save up and get something that sounds a little better.
Yep. Well, I can remember buying stylus for my turntable. Even the stylus alone was like $20, $30 for a good stylus. And today, like I picked up one of those suitcase Victrolas at $10 at a garage sale, just to try it out again, because I still have all my Beatle records and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I don't have the good one that Adam used to tease me with.
Which one is that?
The Dolls, the Butcher cover.
Yeah. I don't like to show that online, Paul. I don't want someone to break in and try to get it.
I know.
They're so hard to find. But it was a record called Yesterday and Today, and when it was released, the cover had the Beatles sitting in chairs. 3 of them were in the chairs, and they had laboratory coats on or butcher coats on if you worked at a meat processing place, like in the back of a grocery store, and there was animal carcass and sausages all over them. They had baby dolls that had something red on them, and the story goes they were recalled and blah 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 blah. But you know they're kind of desirable, kind of hard to find. Yeah.
Yep. And then they just laminated the new cover over it.
They did.
At the beginning.
Paste. Yeah. And then
that's why you'll see some with the corners torn back.
Yeah. Even the ones that didn't have, even the ones that weren't a paste over, people went, let me see, so.
Right. Is alcohol spray lens cleaner bad for vinyl?
Lens cleaner, would that be like the kind used? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I'll answer the question about alcohol. When I make my own solution for my VPI, I use a little bit of alcohol, a lot of water, and a few drops of detergent. And then I put it on the record. I clean the record and I vacuum the water off or the liquid off. And so if you go online and you read how to clean your records, you'll get 100 different recommendations. And some people say, you never put water, you never do this, you never do this, you never do that. So I just went with something, and that's what I do. I don't share my recipe. I just say it's part this and part this and part there, just because who knows? Oh, it's the kind for glasses. I don't think I would use that. I don't think I would use that at all, Mom. I don't think I would do that at all.
And Lisa says, what about the old-fashioned disc washers?
Oh, yeah.
So popular in my college days.
The ones that were like a big bar of soap. Yeah, they were very popular. And sometimes when I get estates in, or I go look at an estate, I'll see those, Lisa, and I'll pick them up. RCA purchased the right to those, and they're still making them. The only thing, Lisa, that today, and I had a disc washer as a kid, and I used it religiously. But today, I don't like to push anything into the grooves, and I realize that the whole goal is just to remove the dust with the almost corduroy felt that's on the disc washer. But you're still applying pressure, and some people will spray the vinyl and then take a cloth and clean it that way. My idea is, like, I don't like to push anything into the grooves, so I avoid that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Johnny says, I enjoy hearing the sound on the Victrola. I have 2 tabletops and 2 floor models. Great sounds in them as well.
Right. So Paul was talking about a present company, Innovation Technology. They own the rights to the name Victrola. So they make a they make lifestyle electronics, and they use the name Victrola. Johnny's referring to the Victrola that you may have seen that you wind up.
He probably had it when he was a kid. You wind it up, and it's got the big horn that comes out. They came out in the 1800s, didn't they?
You wind it up, and
Just kidding, Johnny. Just kidding.
it plays records at 78 RPM, and
Right.
And those are very cool. Whenever I get 78s, and I try my best not to get 78s, I usually just give them away and say, "Come get them,
I
folks."
still have 78s from my family when I was a kid. They're like the thickness of 3 or 4 albums.
Right, they're about a quarter-inch thick, and they're made of shellac, and they will break on your heartbeat. And the cool thing, folks, if you ever end up getting a Victrola, um, every time you play one side of a record, you have to replace the needle with a new needle because it has
wow.
protection on the needle that elevates the sound, and that can wear off. And when it wears off, it's just like putting a nail on there. So,
Wow.
replacement needles for 78s are very inexpensive. I order them like 1,000 at a time. I have a little tabletop, and it's a little bitty one, and then I can play some 78s. And I like to put a Billie Holiday on there, Frank Sinatra. I think I have an Elvis on Sun on 78 that is fun to play.
Wow.
Even when they were new, they weren't not fidelity at all. I think if everyone's ever seen Downton Abbey, I think they had a 78 phonograph.
Yep.
And so that's really neat. But they're fun, they're neat, and they're worn out.
That's
They're
cool.
usually worn out. And the funny thing, Paul, is that in India, with so many rural places that didn't have electricity, India continued pressing 78s into the 60s. And there were several releases by the Beatles on 78.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Let me catch up with the chat. Ping
Sure.
said, I had that LP. I believe she's talking about the Butcher cover.
Uh-huh.
Fanatic, is it true JCPenney sold the most of the Butcher cover albums? I don't know if that's true, because were they around back then?
I'm sure
I
they
used to
were.
buy my records at Strawberries Records in Boston.
Who asked about the JC
Fanatic?
Fanatic asked about the JC Penney's.
Yep.
I had read, and it's my understanding that Sears in California sold the most of the Beatles with the baby dolls.
Yes.
So there was
right. Crank one, and I have them all. Crank with the reality old albums sell for them as well.
Yeah.
And before that, there were Wax Cylinder records. Oh, Lisa's going way back.
Yeah, I have some
those.
cylinder records. I don't have a player. I even have some Edison Diamond disc that are even thicker than a 78, and they're made of vinyl and asphalt.
Wow.
They play at 80 RPMs, and the grooves are super, super thin.
Damn.
Yeah.
Johnny buys the needles 1,000 at a time.
There
I
you
have
go.
a new Victrola made to look old-fashioned, but it plays CDs, cassettes, and MP3s. Never saw that. When my stepmother turned 90, I played a lot of old songs on the tabletop. Victrola, she was 94 on Monday. She really enjoyed that for her party. That's cool. J.C. Penney had been around for... Oh, I didn't know that. I don't remember any back home. Hey, Dolly, how are you?
Dolly.
When my father-in-law passed away, we got his Wax Cylinder records and the machine. Wow. I received my Beatles Butcher LP record label. I had fan club for the Beatles back then. Yeah, I was a member of one of the fan clubs myself.
Do you still have a King?
Huh?
King, do you still have that record? So the Capitol Record Club, I don't have my notes in front of me, but you're able to identify records that were sold through the Capitol Record Club, and they're a little different than what was in retail. Wow.
I'm just looking for something here.
Yes. That's right. The crank.
Now this, I don't know why this is so cheap. Oh, it's a flag. That's why. Stop, share. In case anybody doesn't know, this is the butcher cover that we're talking about.
That's a counterfeit.
Well, it says it's a flag. It's a fabric poster flag.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
But you see they have meat on them, decapitated baby dolls, meat. So, and they get the coats. So that's why they call it the butcher cover. Just in case people didn't know.
Ping says she left it in Tucson when she moved.
That sounds like a song. I left my Beatles butcher album in Tucson, Arizona. Brother-in-law got divorced, so I didn't know where to say. Okay. Yeah, I've never had. That's like, I've never had that one. Never. So, all right, we're all caught up. Let's do a tour of the store. Share a screen. Oh, no, stop sharing the screen. Share screen. You click the little bottom left, share system audio. So this is going to be your store, right, Adam?
Yeah, this is the Raleigh location. And I have other videos on socials, Record Crate Wake Forest, Record Crate Selma, Record Crate Raleigh on Instagram. I regularly place walkthroughs.
Here's an interesting question I didn't even know about. There are also band covers of other artists. Which one should we look for, Adam?
It's interesting to say band because I can't help but think that a lot of things were just marketed differently. I mean, Yoko Ono and John Lennon released an album called Two Virgins, and they both were nude, and it was sold inside of a paper bag, if you would. And, Poison open up and say, there's a girl with a very long tongue. Looks almost like an animation. The Scorpions had lots of records that had nudes on the cover. The UK nudity didn't bother them like it did in America. But there's just certain pressings that have alternate covers and things like that. I think a lot of people like to say, "Oh, it was so that they had," and I'm like, I just don't buy all that hype.
Yeah, Americans are so uptight. All right, so let's check out the store.
Hello. I'm going to do a walkthrough at Paul's request. So this is my door, and I'm in the Raleigh location, and you come in, and I'm going to show you what I have. Oh, look at there. There's Nico. Nico, would you like to say hello to everyone? There you go, baby. Here she is. She likes to hang out here, but when people come in, she runs. But anyway, this is my counter. Yeah, and this is where I make it happen. Now, March 8th, I had 8 employees. Today, I have none. I'm doing everything on my own, folks, and I have a huge mess. I miss my employees, which gave me the freedom to get more things done and pass on responsibilities of cleaning and stuff like this. I've been doing a lot of 7-inch sales, and so these are the ones that are sold, that are waiting to be invoiced and things like that. This is my top shelf vinyl, and I'm just going to show you around quickly. Different genres. Nico wants to play. Have some original artwork in here by Stephen King. New arrivals, hip hop, punk, blues, heavy. It just on and on. I got piles of stuff I'm working on, which is horrible because customers are like, "Oh, I want to buy this." And I'm like, "Okay." And here we go. She knocked it down, bless her heart. So she comes running. You okay, baby girl? All right. And then we have this. This is the isolation area. I have a lot of CDs in here. And I have the dollar bin. As always, I can have more stuff. And I will. All right. Some accessories and things like that. This is my more YouTube cells. This is my record cleaning machine. It's a VPI. It's a wet vacuum machine. Cleaning, more artwork, more things on the wall. I sold some records. I got to fill in the holes here. You know, this Harry Styles campaign going on. More. Now, if someone were to walk in the door, she would go running like crazy. So I got lots of cassettes and records and T-shirts, some vintage T-shirts, different categories for records and things like that. More cassettes over there, some hi-fi stuff. Got a bunch of laser discs here. We continue in here. More cool things on the wall. Hi-fi stuff. Records, some DVDs. DVDs aren't so fun anymore. There was a time that I was selling hundreds of them a week. Okay, this is my little station where I go live and I do my live YouTube sales. And these are some records that are coming up in sales. I just kind of keep them closed, covered during the times that I'm open. And cool things like that. But I'm just gonna pan real slow. Everybody get
They have international flights going out there, and they have the blue going out there, so I'm assuming it's going to be the same time schedule. So,
Lots of stuff.
yeah, so I'm assuming if you had or something similar to it, I would say yes.
So I'm so used to playing music in here that I'm tempted to sing all the time when
Because
I'm
I'm not there building the lines, that's Mary Jo and.
Yes, ma'am. You got something to say?
All in their hands
What
right
you
now.
got to say,
And
baby?
we know it happens.
What you got to say? What you got to say,
No,
baby? She's so pretty. Found her beside the dumpster almost a year ago. I have some posters. I have some comics, stickers. People like stickers. Yeah. So there we go.
So the majority did go back.
I'm saving almost every box that comes in now so that I can ship records out again. There's some more sevens that's going to be part of the sale coming up soon. I need to cover those up now. And then, of course, back here, things are a huge mess, so I kind of keep this area shut off to the customers.
Right, which means that if you did this bid
There we go.
plus the next bid. you would
Here we
be-
are, folks. Here we are.
Right, so you will be in permanency until.
I'm very proud to be open.
October, you can only bid.
I'm not proud of how the place
That'll give
looks
you another 6
and how
months.
there's so many things that need to be done.
Okay,
So
okay, perfect, that's what I needed.
there we go. Well, thank you much. Hope you enjoyed the walkthrough.
This, you're-
Very cool.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
all right, perfect, thank you so much.
Very, very cool.
Thank you much. Mom had a question about promotional records. Where did it go? Are the promotional record albums more valuable than regular albums? Well, it's all about condition, Mom. But one reason a lot of people like promotional records is because there were some of the earlier ones that were pressed from the plate. And so it could be First press, if you will. But, you know.
And let me just say too, I'm sorry about that spammer that came in. I didn't realize it because I have my YouTube on the channel that I had the video playing over it. But hopefully it's gone. And I didn't fix my subscriber only thingy. But yeah, that was a cool tour.
Well,
A lot of stuff.
Thank you, Guru.
A question that came to my mind was, let's say you have, and I just saw the David Bowie. Let's say you have an original of that album, and then they re-released it in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Would the values be the same today? Like so the new one is like $30, $40, and I don't know what the old one would go for today.
So that's a good question, Paul. So with records being so desirable and with so many people wanting to have records again, a lot of reasons the records are repressed is so that people can have them again. Some of the records are just hard to find in beautiful condition, so new ones are available for people, to have if they like.
Yeah.
Some records, the value isn't affected. Some records still remain high. Wow, what's some examples? Brian Eno. There weren't that many Brian Eno vinyl releases. And so when you find them, they're usually in beautiful condition because the type of people who would buy Brian Eno, they would cherish it, they would take care of it. And if new stuff was put out, I don't think it's going to affect the prices at all. And I think that even though it might be $10 or $15 or $20 less to buy the repress, oh, I'm sorry, Lisa, you have to go back and rewatch it. But Barbra Streisand records, I'm hoping Taylor Swift covers Barbra Streisand, so there will be a big surge of Barbra Streisand records or something like that.
Wow. I have a demonstration, not for resale, embossed on an album back cover.
Yeah.
I've never seen demonstration. I've seen promotional use only that they usually give DJs and radio stations.
Right, and as well as other media, but demo, promotional, audition, white label promo, all that other stuff. Yeah, they're all desirable because they could potentially sound better than the traditional retail release.
Good morning, Iris. How are you today? Oh, yeah, and Mom, funny, Adam and I were talking about this morning because Larry, you all know Larry talked about this, and I said, gee, the candy store that we go to in Maine, right over the border, we stop at it all the time, sells all the old candy. So when we went a couple of months ago, I picked up a box of this.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was going to give it away, give packs away as prizes, and then people say, we don't need prizes.
Okay. And the story goes, it's the original recipe.
That's true, too.
Yeah. They are cool looking, that's for sure. People get into a nostalgic mood when they see those here and like,
yep. Oh, Sandy and I do the same thing. We walk in the store and say, oh, remember the wax lips and the wax bottles used to suck out the juice. There's so much.
That's for sure.
Did you eat? No, I didn't, Dolly. As you could see, this is still a full box. I have been tempted several times, but this is a full box.
Oh, I want to show my 7-inch, my fuzzy 7-inch holder.
How do I? There you go.
This is my fuzzy 7-inch holder.
Oh, that's cool.
You take the lid off, and you can take the Beatles records, and you can put them right here, and they stack them up like that. I love it when someone comes in and they have, I think these were called Disco-matics. I love it when they come in and they have these. I like to buy them all, and I used to
Wow.
have them all over.
I used to have just the box, the case.
Yeah. And I got a bunch of those. I don't have one handy. Yeah. Pixie stick. Very cool. So these are fun.
I love Chico sticks and Rocky Roads, old fashioned, but yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because that's one of the videos that's still in my camera that I have to release is walking through Yummies. But that's cool.
I was thinking you did.
I
Or maybe you
didn't.
just
I
showed the candy.
I don't think I released it yet. I did a couple of photos, and I
Oh,
think
okay.
I did. I sat outside it. But let me ask this question because I used to have a couple of comic book stores back home, and Wednesday was always like, "Oh my God, here we go!" You know, 50 comics, 100 comics, or whatever. Is
Mhm.
it the same way with albums? Are albums released one time a week, or is it just whenever?
It's changed, but now it's typically Friday, unless it's record store day. But Fridays are typically drop days uh, for the record community.
And on average, is there an average of how many record releases are done per week?
You know, when I first started and I got my first account to buy new records, there was like 3 or 4 or maybe 5 that were released a week. I've seen it as high as 200.
200.
Um,
Now, 4 or 5 when you first started is not a lot of money. 200 at today's price is a small fortune.
Right, it is. You know, a lot of stores they have to. We've had to start bringing in as many new pressings as we can because some of the older stuff is everybody's a record dealer, so many people will list things online for sale, and and if you go on the big auction site and people have records and you start looking at the titles and reading the descriptions, a lot of people just use the description of used. But you can always tell when it's someone that knows records because they start listing a grading like G or VG or
Yep.
near, and things like that. So, but everybody's a record dealer, and so getting pre-owned records to go into the shop, pre-loved records are not like they were years ago. And so we bring in the cool titles, repressings to get more people into the shops.
Okay. I too, like, I think I started to do high bid.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. And I listed on my first high bid auction. I think I have like 4 albums on there. But they're like one's the Flintstones from the 60s, one's Batman, one's Superman and Spider-Man and stuff like that. So I didn't do a VG or, like a comic book, but I did say, all right, side 1 has a 1-inch scratch or a scuff, and side 2 is really nice and clean. But yeah, not a lot of people put the effort in. Like you said, it's just pre-owned.
Right.
And they leave it up to you. What you get when you get it home is probably sometimes not what you expected when you bid on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're exactly right. And customers share with me stories of disappointments of purchasing online. And that's the reason I don't list pre-loved records online is because that, you talk about a mark on it. Is that mark audible?
Right.
I mean, I've sold many records that have a mark on it that you cannot hear it at all. And when my customers come in, they're like, "Hey," and I was like, "No problem. I'll play it for you. You don't hear it." And they're like, "You don't hear it." And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know Dawn from Two Hip Chicks. She's into the grading thing, VG or whatever, but she listens to everything. She's got the turntable in front of her, she says, and she shows it in her camera. And it plays fine. It sounds great. So, but yeah, there's a lot of people like myself. I didn't play any of the records. I just, like Mom said, or Yvonne, visually graded. And Dolly says, yeah, I don't understand the record grading, but maybe one day I will. It's enough trying to learn it for silver, gold, and platinum, and numismatics, as well as comics and cards are enough to remember.
Well, I don't know coins, Dolly. I don't know comics. Now, Wake Forest Shop, there's a comic book store a few stores down. I have a good relationship with him, Brandon, and I'll go over and say, hey, he's like, yeah, blah, 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 but
Yep.
they're good. But record grading, it's almost like you have to be a record listener
Connoisseur.
before you could start properly grading things, before you can start grading things. Because I think Mom says you can say visually graded. You can, but I've seen records that look fantastic, and I'll play them. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? Did they play this with a nail, or something like that, and they just sound horrible. So I'm one of these people that's very slow to process records because I clean, I put new sleeves, I bag them, I play a lot of them before I price them, and that's the reason some of my customers come here and spend a few dollars on some of the pressings I have because they know that I'll go through this stuff. And
Right.
they knew that I'll be glad to pop it on and let them hear it.
Could the same exact record sound different on two different machines?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not necessarily all the time the machine, Paul. That's important. But it's the amplification and how you hear it. Yeah.
Okay. I remember back in the day, because my buddy was a disc jockey,
Mm-hmm.
and the big thing was you need to get a direct drive turntable. Is that
Mhm.
still the thing today? Or are they all direct drive now?
Direct drive, belt.
6 of one, half dozen of the other?
Do we want to get the yeah, it's just there's a camp here for this and a camp for this. I don't care. I don't. I have them both.
Well,
One thing I like about the direct drive, I don't have to replace the belt later on.
right. And plus with him, because he was a DJ, and I used to be in the booth with them a lot, when you put two albums on and you have to slow the tempo on this one, you can't do that with a belt. You need direct drive.
That's true.
Or you have to speed it up to match this one, beats per minute, and I remember all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, and if you can do the merry-go-round and the carousels and things like that when you're DJing, having a direct drive that is an exceptionally strong motor is important.
Yep.
Mom says she listens to 99% of them. I've read descriptions where people say, "Oh yeah, it plays. It plays." Okay.
Didn't have any speakers connected, but it plays.
Yeah. I've made notes on rare, hard to find records that says plays all the way through, no jumps, no repeats. It is noisy. But some of those Blue Note records that are rated G, that plays with noise that brings several $100s, it's amazing that they will sell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christie's into the candy cigarettes. Memories. There was an odd penny candy store in Moline. We always spent my grandma's house. Not sure it's still open. We'll check next time in town. And Iris said she got in trouble last time she had candy cigarettes, but she was only 12.
Yeah.
My dad disapproved of candy cigs too, but then after a while he gave up.
You realize how good they taste.
Yeah. And the other thing I used to love, and I just had one not too long ago. I don't remember if I bought it at Yummy's or not. Were the bubblegum cigars.
Oh, pink.
The pink, blue. Love those. The taste of the bubble gum was so good.
Very good. Yeah. Is that the ones that there was something you would blow on in a
little smoke? That's the candy. The other candy cigarettes with the paper sleeve outside them, where they would hide the powder, and you blow into it, and it would look like you're puffing smoke.
Yeah, there was a place in Smithville that I have gone to in the past and purchased, the king size candy and
Yep.
other suckers and nostalgic candy and brought into the shop. Yeah.
The bubble gum, and not to get off the record thing, but the bubblegum cigars you could find a lot now. They come in boxes of "It's a boy, it's a girl," so the guys can give out the cigars because they're having a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't say that I got in trouble. I said, I know, I'm just saying that, Iris. I saw an auction that the description said a lot of records were moldy and had tons of bids.
It could have been one record in there that somebody wanted.
Yeah.
It could have been that. I sold a Kiss record, and the buyer, I said, I cannot clean it right now, but if you leave it, I will clean it and have it ready for you tomorrow. And it wasn't Kiss, it was Kraftwerk, and it had some mold on it.
On the album itself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The inner sleeve would get moisture.
Yeah.
And it could just be inside of a house. It wasn't necessarily, it didn't get wet, but it was just humidity. And there was some mold. I said, I'll be glad to treat it and clean it for you. And he says, I can't stay and I can't come back, so I'll just take it home and clean it. But yeah, even I've done that a lot. I've had people bring records in that were wet, and I was like, just go ahead and take them outside. I don't want to risk the health of the mold. But I didn't realize that there was mold on this Kraftwerk until I pulled it out of the sleeve.
Oh, wow. Albums grow spores? That I didn't know.
It's a surface. Yeah, it's a surface that can allow spurs to grow. Vinyl, paper too. I mean, so I live in an area that's pretty heavily
humid.
Humidity. I'm sure you do too, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be aware of certain things, and you have to keep certain things off the floor. And
yep. That's why they say homes in Florida, when people go away, they say keep your air conditioner on at least 80 to move the air, and when your air conditioner is on, it's also dehumidifying the place.
Right.
And then you get the people that don't, and they come back a month later, and there's mold growing everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. And so yeah, it's just what we have to do. I don't think you would run into that, Mom. Maybe Dolly.
So what else about the well, I don't know if you want to say, but well, you did say in your video, you personally work all three stores.
That's true. I a lot of things has happened since March 20th, 2020. And the employees went away. And so I'm by myself. I've had some people come and go and work for a little while, doing this and doing that. It's a very different world, very different climate. I have a guy that I'm training up in Wake Forest, and he loves blues, so I'm excited about that. So I'm at a different store. Today I'm in Raleigh, and I'll have Raleigh open from noon to 6, and then on Fridays is my Wake Forest day, and Saturdays Raleigh, Sundays Wake Forest, Mondays Raleigh, back and forth. I'm in a large marketplace in Selma, so we collectively pay to have somebody work the cash register for us.
Ah.
That's one thing that's good for me. And
So it has to be a challenge, though, for you.
it's the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. It's the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. I'm working harder than I ever worked, and I grew up on a farm, and so yeah, and so, but
But you love it.
I do love it. Do I love it now? But
Okay.
I have a responsibility, I have a commitment, and then when my leases expire or my lease is getting close to ending, I probably will think about what I want to do and how to change things. But until then, I do have commitments, and yeah, I would.
So you have
Ideally,
all your shipments go to one location?
yeah.
That's cool. That makes it nice.
Raleigh distributes everything, and but yeah, looking
So
forward.
hopefully this guy works out and things will start changing.
Looking forward to a better day. I'm sure we all are.
Yeah.
Everybody's been affected in the last 2 years.
Oh yeah. Oh
You know,
yeah.
I live in a high tech area, and some of my customers, nothing changed other than we don't go into the office for meetings anymore. We do our meetings on Zoom and
On Zoom. Yeah.
things like that, and which is great. And then, but yet I've had a lot of customers who worked in the service industry and they lost their jobs. I've had friends that own small businesses and they lost their business.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Good morning, Vintage.
New vintage.
So let me ask. You are a record store.
Yeah.
Do you have music playing to the sidewalk outside the record store?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
Not allowed? County ordinance or whatever, you can't do it?
It's not even that. It's just respect for neighbors. I've always felt that way. There's been
Okay.
times that I would have a late night event, like I would have an estate come in, I would get it processed and priced, and say, "All right, folks, Friday night at 9:30, I'm gonna open up the door, and you can come buy from this estate." So I might put a
Nice.
speaker outside and play some music. But
Nice idea.
yeah, so I used to do stuff like that. Yeah, and so that was fun, closing up and reopening, and
Yep.
a lot of people out there. So yeah.
That's cool. So put your link in the chat. You should be able to. And do you have anything coming up soon, like any sales that
I
you're
do have
doing?
sales. I do sales regularly on YouTube. I do live sales. Um, for the month of July, I'm doing a sale every night of 7-inch records. I have gone through and pulled out all in the corners, underneath every. And I've just been pulling out 7s, and I've been doing live 7-inch sales all
You
month
said every
long.
night?
Every night in July I have been. And
Wow.
then and I'll probably go live this afternoon. Someone suggested, a friend of mine has suggested that I need to do 3 sales a day. I'm like, okay, but they suggested 11 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then of course my late night, which is around 8:20, 8:40 every night.
And for people that don't know, and for people like myself that keep forgetting, what's the doohickey called in the middle of a 7-inch record?
It's called a spider.
A spider?
Yeah. Oh, here's one. Yeah. Here's a spider.
Okay. So for people also like me that bought one of those, and I haven't even opened it, one of those brand new Victrolas, the only way they'll play a 7-inch or 45, as we used to call them, is you need that adapter, right?
Yeah, but a lot of turntables and a lot of record players would have them. They came with the machines, so
Oh,
you probably
okay.
have one in there. I think these were popular when the stackers and it had the single spindle.
Yep.
Of course, you could buy a little thingy that was shaped almost like a Z and put over it. I think this is when they came. I think these date back to the 50s. Yeah, but I have Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do sell. Yeah, and so YouTube sales have definitely saved me, and also yeah. But I have these, and if somebody comes in and they buy sevens and they don't have a center, I'll give them one. If they want to buy,
Yep.
they want to buy several of them, I'll sell them several. How many do you need, Mom? And just send me an email, and I can ship some out to you. But I have.
You should have them with your name on it.
Where's my pencil?
Yeah.
You can buy metal spiders. You can buy.
Oh, I never saw metal ones.
My favorite ones are the ones that came with my Technics 1200 turntable. It's metal and it's heavy. You can buy them that say Third Man Records on them, or you can buy them that are branded. I could order some permanent spiders, as I like to call them, that can with my name on it.
Yeah. Wow.
Just like
They used to cost 25 cents. Now they cost about $10 for 5. Woo.
kidding me. Wow. How about that? And whenever I get a batch of sevens, there's usually in the bottom of those little boxes you talk about, Paul.
Yep.
And or they're in the bottom of the box, or they're still on the records, and I like to pop them off.
Yep.
I have a large glass cookie jar on the front counter that I just throw all the sevens and spiders in there. And
Mom says, great idea, putting your name on it.
Yeah, it is.
But I contacted the company. This is a Scotty peeler. Contacted the company. I says, how much to get my name on it? You could get it down to $1 a piece, but you have to buy 1,000 pieces minimum. So I says, okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's crazy. Not only do I love vinyl, I love most every form of music media, but I do sell a lot of cassettes. Cassettes are very popular now. And there you go. I sell a few CDs. CDs aren't selling very much. When I can get reel-to-reel tapes that are company made, I love that.
Oh, wow.
Those are super desirable.
And do you have a player?
I do. I have one at the Wake Forest location. I have one at home.
Nice.
And then, of course, the media that is super hard to find locally, that's real popular in Europe and Asia, are mini disc. I rarely find a mini disc.
Now, when I was buying records or whatever, they would start coming out with those for a single song.
Okay.
The mini disc.
You may be speaking about a very small compact disc. The mini disc is much like a floppy disk visually.
Like these, I bought a case of these because I used to put my business card on them.
Oh yeah, that's a compact disc. I was thinking more like it's more like a mini disc, and it looks much like a floppy drive, a 3.5-inch floppy drive.
Oh, okay.
It's a different technology, so I'm always looking those if you guys run across those. But yeah, Paul, I like those ones like you have, and there were many commercial releases. Paul McCartney, Frank Zappa, on and on had the little small mini compact disc.
Yeah. And you've always, now since we've been talking, you've always called them sevens. Are they not called 45s anymore?
Well, we refer to them as 7-inch records. I have records this size that play at 33. I have records this size that play at 38. It's 78. The large records, I have records like this that play at 33. I have records I also have some that play at 16. And
16, I never heard of that.
Yeah. And then I have, these are 12-inch records. I have these that play at 33 1/3. I have these that play at 45, and I have these that play at 78, and I have these that play at 16. I also have some of these that play at 8. So
I never heard of that.
yeah. So if I had a 12-inch single that played at 45 RPM, you know, so it's just been easier over the years. And when I was growing up, we called these 7s. They were 7 inches.
Okay. Yeah, when I was, we used to just call them 45s.
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 Brim full of Asher on the 45. There you go.
The only thing I don't like about, Mom says, the only thing I don't like about cassettes is the font is so small.
It is small. Yeah, it is small. Just listen to the music. It's so good.
Yeah. Do you like live renditions? Like Peter Frampton live? I know people talk about that one a lot.
Peter Frampton Comes Alive. That is a really good record. Yeah. You know, some artists have live records, and some of the live records I think are really good. Of course, you know, it's all subjective as to
Right.
what you like. But I think some of them sound good, and I think some of them are horrible. I'm more of an audiophile, so I listen to a lot of dynamics, and I always want to find the record that sounds the best, and so I can enjoy listening, having that wonderful experience.
That's cool.
Phil Collins, his solo stuff, everything just sounds good.
Wow.
80s Genesis, I'm talking about vinyl. 80s Genesis vinyl pressings sound so good. It's just full of dynamics. Yeah.
Very cool. I think I still have a couple of my original Beatle albums that are in mono,
Mono.
not stereo.
Are they domestic or imports?
Oh, they would always be domestic. Because,
Okay.
like I said, just you go to the local record store or whatever. I'm sure they're domestic. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I used to remember when I was a kid, I could hear the music here, but they would talk or sing here in this speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when it was, we got to make a stereo record rather than let's record this record and let's mix it properly with stereo.
Yeah.
And George Martin taught the world a lot.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So anything you want to leave us with, Adam?
Oh, man, just play records every day, folks. Enjoy it.
And what about your YouTube channel?
Oh, yeah. I do have one of those. Well, there's a link to my YouTube channel on my website. I'll put that in the
So
chat.
recordcrate.com, everybody, he does have his, everything's connected there. You can see more pictures of, I think, all the stores there, which is very cool.
Instagram's real strong for images. And then Twitter, of course. And yeah.
Yep. And if you're looking, anybody out there, if you're looking for new records, something you just heard came out that you're interested in getting, you can always reach out to Adam.
Right. As well as something that's going to come out, it's going to sell before it releases, before it hits the stores. The other thing I was going to say, Paul, is, you know, not so much now, but in the past, I've done virtual shopping for people who live outside the area. FaceTime or Instagram video are good ways to walk through the shop and see it with myself.
Just like Uber without the car.
There you go. And without the cost and without the, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
But
Did you get
this, folks? It's fun.
Are you selling the new Get Back DVD, or are you not doing DVDs?
I did not bring that one in.
Okay.
That one, the market was flooded with counterfeit copies of that.
Oh, wow.
Before it happened. And but right now they're all sold out.
Wow.
And the only ones you can find now are in the retail shops. And and you can pretty much pay what you want. Some of them are selling for retail, and some of them are selling for much more than retail.
Right. Well, I know I still have my original copy of Let It Be DVD that I got when on a trip to London one year.
Mm-hmm.
But you never see that, never released in the United States.
Let It Be?
Yeah.
I have a copy of it on VHS.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
what was it? What's this month? July, maybe in May. I had the laser disc and I sold it.
Yep.
And so the laser disc sold. There's a bunch of people in Charlotte, North Carolina who love the Beatles. And they love it when I get stuff in that they don't have. And so
Yep.
that went to Charlotte. And so it's just really neat. Mom says, for record sellers and collectors, who would you recommend following on YouTube? That's a good question.
Well, Record Crate.
Of
The
course.
gentleman right here next to me, of course.
Absolutely. VW Westland. I can't remember his proper YouTube now. He's up in New Jersey. This guy is so cool. And then, of course, Ken McAuliffe. I enjoy watching his stuff. But my favorite, Paul, which you probably would really dig, is the Beatles Parlophone auction. That guy knows more about the Beatles than Paul McCartney does, and
Wow.
and he has a wonderful channel. I don't have any of the Beatles at home in my personal listening library, but they are a very popular band and very desirable, and a lot of people seek their stuff. And so the more I can know about them, the better I'm able to communicate with my customers.
Yep.
And
I think
so-
those are the only albums I have from my childhood. That Cheech and Chong, Big Bamboo, I think I kept that. Herman's Hermits, Dave Clock 5, that type of stuff.
Right. I do want to mention on storage, the proper way to store records are completely vertical. No leaning. Keep them out of the sun. Keep them away from direct heat. And there you go. When records are stacked like pancakes, they have a tendency to warp. A guy called me up. I got a bunch of records I want to sell. These are the ones I had: teenage, college, adult. Haven't played them in 20 years. How have they been stored, sir? They've been stored in the closet. How were they stored in the closet? They were just stacked up. And I said, were they stacked like pancakes? He said, yes. I said, don't even bring them in. I'm not even interested.
Wow.
So it's not fun having a record that's not flat.
Right. All right. Anybody else? Any last questions, comments? Yes, I know. I have an MRI to go to in a little bit.
Okay, have fun at the MRI.
Oh yeah, loads of fun.
Don't get caught.
Any last questions or comments, anybody? Thank you all for coming in. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments. But so Adam, when's your next sale? Tonight?
Tonight, probably at 8:28, 40. It'll be
Okay.
all sevens. It'll probably be it's a buy it now. I'll show the record. If you're interested in it, just comment. Send me an email later on.
Is it different genres every night, or just no? I'm just going to put up
I'll
everything.
just pull a box and say, here's what we got, folks. And so yeah, it's a mix. Next Sunday I'll do mostly all 90s, indies, and punk rock. And if you guys want to have fun, watch my sale from last Sunday. It was full of gold. But
Really?
they started $1, go up. Tonight there probably won't be anything more than $4. And I saved the special stuff for Sunday nights. So yeah,
Nice.
mom can vouch. She's got some cool stuff from me.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Thanks, Paul. It was fun hanging out.
Yes, been a long time.
We'll have to get the band back together.
Oh, most of it.
Well, not everybody comes back on the invitation, but I do have a Blues Brothers record somewhere.
Cool. All right, everybody. We're going to call it here. I want to thank everybody. Thank Adam for being here with us today and the
It's fun
store
hanging out.
tour and everything, and
Yeah.
helping us learn more about vinyl.
There you go.
Very cool. And I will be back on Monday. So don't forget, everybody, I have my high bid auction. If you're on my email list, you should have got an email today. If not, just send me a message and I will I'll add you to the list and get you an email on it. It ends Saturday at 8 o'clock. So as you know, most activity on an auction doesn't happen until the last 5 or 10 minutes. But it's gaining, which is nice.
Very
So don't forget, Adam's going on every night to do a sale on records. So if you want to get into records, or if you're looking for something, you can always reach out to Adam, and he can tell you what store he has it in and how much it would cost, and ship it out to you.
Very good.
So thank you, everybody. Have a great day and a great weekend. As always, thank you for your support. And Maddie says hello.